And welcome to our host, Emily Wray.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome, you guys. Hall of Fame. It's a really big deal. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to be here. My name is Emily Wray. I'm a course director here at Full Sail. I've been here about 8 years. Some of you might recognize me from being around campus. Some of you might love me or hate me for creating the RISE model. You've heard of it. I am here today to support Stan Miller, and I want to introduce him. And our story is an interesting one, and it's going to kind of come out over the course of the session today. But what you need to know about Stan is that he is a Full Sail grad. He is alumni of the Media Communications degree program here, and he was an online student. One of my students. What you're about to hear today is the story of how Stan really ignited his passion for what he wants to do here at Full Sail, and it's called Story Kate. Stan is a sales executive at a startup here in Orlando, Viewpoint, but that's not what we're here to talk about today, is it, Stan?
That's not what we're here to talk about today.
All right. Take it over.
Well, thank you, Emily, for being my partner in this journey and for being a great instructor and for everything that you do. Thank you all for being here. I'm grateful that you showed up to learn a little bit more about storytelling. And so I'll start with just a little bit about my background and my journey. I've had a 25-year career in the corporate space, and I've worked for large companies like AT&T and Regions Bank, and have spent a lot of time in the corporate space. And I also spent a lot of time in the startup space. And so no matter what space you want to go into, one of the things that we'll talk about today is the journey that you will be on from the time that you leave here through your career. As you can see here, there's a picture of my family. About 3.5 years ago, I made a decision after spending 25 years in the corporate space to come back to school. I had operated my entire career with a high school education and have done really well with that. But there was something inside of me. I had a passion for helping others. And everything that I experienced in the corporate space was geared towards that passion of helping others. I had led teams, I built teams, and I had this passion, but I just didn't know what to do with it. When I joined Full Sail Online, I made a commitment to trying to learn more and discover more about that passion that was burning inside of me, which was really to help people recognize their potential and help them accelerate in their careers. And so I spent most of my time in the corporate space doing that, but I also had to do things like reporting and all of the things that you have to do to maintain your career. And so with Full Sail at MCBS, when I got introduced, MCBS, the program actually unlocked that passion for me and gave me a roadmap, gave me a framework to execute and show me how I could actually build something that would help others reach their potential. Many of you are here today with dreams, and I get that. And I had a passion. I didn't really have a dream for about 18, 19 years of my career. I was just kind of navigating, doing the best that I could, paycheck. But turning that paycheck into a passion is really what we're going to talk about today. And what I can tell you is you're in the right place being at Full Sail, because Full Sail does take your dream seriously. It took my dream seriously, and I am evidence of that. And so as you transition to what is a new reality, my new reality is that I am a member of a great team that is committed to helping people accelerate their career, and that is Story Kate. But let's talk about your reality. Your reality is when you graduate, there are 3 million other individuals that will graduate next year. So you are in a competitive marketplace. Would you all agree? It's a competitive landscape. And the question becomes, what does separate you from the rest? What actually is your greatest value? What is your gift? And how do you describe that gift? And that's what we're going to get into today. And so I want to kind of spend a little bit of time actually talking to you, interacting. And I want to know, we've all been prepared, and we're being prepared to enter the workforce. I've been in the workforce, but I've always got to be ready. just like you are now involved in internships and you are seeking opportunities and you're looking for projects to take part in. So let's talk about what's required to secure a job. So if someone could be so bold as to raise their hand and take a crack at what is actually required of you when you're preparing to enter the workforce. I do see a hand back there. I don't know if we can get a mic. Is it possible to get a microphone? Experience, yes. Yes, you need experience. Anybody else? Think about the tools and resources that you have to have ready to get a job.
Bring some value.
You have to bring value. Yes, you do. Very good.
A specific set of skills.
A specific set of skills.
You need personality.
Personality, yes.
Soft skills.
Soft skills, yeah. You need to be able to explain sort of what you do. Anybody else?
Good attitude.
Positive attitude, love it.
Confidence.
Confidence, yes.
White hat. People skills.
Getting good at things that nobody else wants to do.
Okay, that's fair. Getting good at things that people are hesitant to do, right? I thought
Nike.
I saw.
Good communication skills.
Communication, very important. Okay, got one down here. Let's take one more. Be willing to learn and evolve and grow. Yes. And so those are all fantastic things that you have to prepare yourself for and that you're currently doing right now.
But they're also very intangible things.
Yeah, the soft skills.
The soft skills.
How do I learn soft skills? Right?
Yeah.
And so what's actually required is, so if you think about what you just said, which was required, and what you're actually doing right now, does that align? Right? And when we look at really what it takes, what I didn't hear from you is a resume. But you are probably spending time on building a resume. You've all said soft skills and confidence and all of the things that I know you need and you know you need, but we are spending time in a resume, correct? Mm-hmm. And so you will spend hours upon hours developing this resume and try to consolidate all of your experience, whether it's 2-3 years, projects, things that you do, all of the soft skills that doesn't translate on a resume into this piece of paper, and you're going to be judged based on that. Does anybody disagree with that? This is how you're evaluated many times. Okay? And so I want to show you sort of a articulation of what happens to your resume.
You spent 50 hours crafting your resume. 12 hours spent describing yourself in 1,000 characters or less. 6 hours spent questioning whether or not any of this is worth it. 15 minutes spent deciding it is. And an employer will spend on average 31 seconds reading it.
So we're spending time on a resume, and that is what may well happen to your resume. But all of the things that you mentioned are very important, and you've recognized that that's what you need. Those things are really difficult to convey in a resume. You'll also work on a cover letter, right, Emily?
Yep.
And a cover letter is simply you being able to express some written communications to your potential employer on who you are and what you can do to help them solve their problems. You might be working on a portfolio or a demo reel. Anybody in here recognize a portfolio and a demo reel? Yes? This is your evidence you're working on to present to a potential employer that you can help solve some problems. They want to look at that evidence to determine you actually have skills to complete the task that they're asking you to do. And then we hear about LinkedIn. Some of you may be on LinkedIn. We're definitely told. As a student, I was told to join LinkedIn. I had already been on for quite some time. But you got to get on LinkedIn. It's a way to network. It's a way to build your brand. And then networking. There's not a better time than right now to understand the power of networking. And
How many of you here have been, have
Anybody here
heard that word
networking?
over and over again
Right?
here at Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's homework here at Full
This
Sail,
is
networking thing.
This is like networking central at Hall of Fame.
That's right.
And so when we think about all of the combined things that we have here and everything that you've said, this is a heavy lift. And then what's going to happen is you're going to get a call for an interview. And you're going to sit down and you have to answer like tough questions. Let's just think about this. You have to tell people how you handle stress. You have to tell them what critical feedback looks like. Tell me about you. How do you overcome obstacles? Why do you want to work here in the first place? Why should we hire you? Do you have any regrets? I mean, we actually need like a couch and a counseling session for these tough questions that we have to answer in the interview. And this is how you're going to be judged. And so my question to you is, of those questions, what do you believe the number one question is asked in an interview? That's a question. Anyone want to take a crack at that?
What can you do for us?
What can you do for us is a good answer. Anyone else? That's not the number one question, but a good answer.
What can I do for you?
What can I do for you? Why do you want to be here?
What sets you apart?
What sets you apart? Anybody else?
What are your strengths and weaknesses?
What are your strengths and weaknesses? Again, good questions. They will be asked, but not the number one question.
Tell me about yourself.
Tell me about yourself. Now that is the question, I knew one of you guys were going to get it, that will come out in almost every single interview and in almost every single networking opportunity.
I was just going to say that. Most
Right?
conversations. Tell me
It's
a little bit about
conversation.
yourself.
Tell me about what you do. Hey, help me understand who you are. That's the question that we need to achieve mastery at answering. And this is where opportunities will present themselves. And so when you think about tell me about you and the actual question that you answer, interviews can go really good, guys, and they can go really bad based on how you answer this question. It's really true. I have interviewed hundreds of people, and I ask the question, so tell me about you. And sometimes the interview goes, and then it becomes like an 18-minute story. And you don't want that to be your response. You want to deliver the most value to others in the quickest amount of time. Agreed? You want to deliver your message. Here's what I do. Here's who I help. Here's my most significant value. And that's what you want to deliver. But unfortunately, what happens is something that looks a little bit like this.
We're all in this together, and I wanted to put across the general idea rather than the details. People get all hung up on details, like which school did I go to, how many O grades did I get? Could be 6, could be none. It's not important. What is important is that I am, yes?
Do you have any special skills?
Oh, yes. I do. I do voices.
What are your skills, girls?
Oh, we can dance. You mean dancing? We're really good dancers.
Yeah!
We've come to this planet looking for intelligent life. Oops, we made a mistake.
We're happy to be in America. Don't ask for a green card.
I want you in the worst way.
Mr. Matsumoto.
Moto. Martha, can I call you Martha?
No, you may not.
Okay. Human resources lady.
It's Pam.
I'm sorry. Well, Pan.
No, my name is Pam.
Are you saying Pan or Pam?
I'm saying Pam. Yeah, I'm sorry. Who's this gentleman sitting behind you?
Hello, Ms. Lady.
I have fast food experience.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Do you have any experience?
No, sir, I have no experience, but I'm a big fan of money. I like it. I use it. I have a little. I keep it in a jar on top of my refrigerator. I'd like to put more in that jar. That's where you come in.
We're not generally comfortable in an office setting, I would say.
I get cooped up.
So task-oriented, not a workhorse.
I also get headaches from computers, so I can't be around them for too long.
I take stuff.
If you're looking for a Clydesdale, I'm probably not your man.
We're slow learners, and we're not particularly good listeners. That'll be a huge problem.
We're also slow learners.
What's your policy on Columbus Day?
We work.
Really? The guy discovered the new world.
I thank you for your time.
Actually, sir, I really need this job to impress a girl.
Will you leave now, please?
Please leave this office. We're done with this interview.
Do we get any sort of souvenir?
Get out of my office!
Hey, we tried, right?
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
I just love when he goes back and grabs that resume. Like, I spent some time on that. Let me take that with me. And so that's what interviewing gone wrong looks like. But let me just explain to you, that is a reality. A business expert and author, Tom Peters, would suggest to us that we are CEOs of our own companies. So you are a CEO at your own companies. I believe this. And to be in business today, our most important job is to be the head marketer for the brand called you. And you have to ask yourself, am I representing my brand? All of you mentioned earlier soft skills and all of the things that are important. The question becomes, how do you do that? Because what you're faced with is preparing a resume, a cover letter, LinkedIn updates, and networking events. Okay? And so the best brands in the world, the brands that Emily, you and I know and love, are great at storytelling. And this is one of the keys that we're here to talk about today. The greatest brands that you know and love are great storytellers. And so when you think about the power of a story, it has the ability to do three things in your life. It has the ability to evoke emotion. I have a 12-year-old daughter, and I go to Disney-type movies with her a couple years ago. Now, not so much. And when we sit down in a Disney movie, I'm immersed in the story, trying to be a tough guy, tough dad. But at the end of these movies, I start welling up here, and I start wiping some tears. And this is sort of my moment to share that with you. You may not do that. You may be too tough, but I'm not. And so she'll say things to me like, Dad, why are you crying at the end of a movie? It's because I am emotional about the journey that I've just been on.
Yeah.
And stories have the ability to change behaviors. The power of changing behavior is something like this. You watch a Netflix special, let's just say it's What the Health, and you decide after that you are no longer eating meat. That is what storytelling does to us, is it actually causes our behavior to change. And if you embrace that inside of your career, you can actually influence someone's attitude, behavior towards you as an individual. And how about capturing attention? You guys know Instagram stories, Facebook stories, LinkedIn's coming with stories. All of these platforms are talking about storytelling and capturing attention. Who goes to a movie and keeps their phone on and is texting the whole way through the movie and answering calls in the movie? If you're in the movie with me, I probably am going to have a problem with that.
That's someone I don't want to sit next to.
Yeah, I move if that's going on. But the reason I move is because I want to be immersed in the story that's being told. And so 65% of what we remember each day is told in story. And so I know, Emily, you had some thoughts on this.
I did. So we're at Hall of Fame, right? And Hall of Fame is essentially when our most successful grads come back to be inducted into a big ceremony, and there's about 6 of them and 1 million of us. And I want to invite you guys to think about the story of your Hall of Fame experience is not necessarily going to be deeply connecting with one of those 6 people, right? But rather, the person sitting next to you in this session. Maybe it's a more recent grad who's come back, right, from your degree program. That might be the person who you have a meaningful conversation with in line while you're waiting to get a coffee or standing outside at one of the food trucks, right? It will likely be that person who extends their hand to you, or that you can extend your hand to, rather than, the very successful, high-level Hall of Fame inductees, because the stories are going to start closer to you. You're going to have more access. You're going to have more opportunity in your cohort, but also outside of that, outside of your degree program. How many of you here, maybe for the first time, are interacting with degree programs other than your own? Anybody? I see a few hands. These lights are bright. right? So as we continue to talk today, and we're going to invite you into the space of figuring out how to articulate your story, I want you to think about your audience, not just that one moment where you're going to go up and shake the hand of the Hall of Famer. Definitely take that opportunity, because who knows? But also look around you. Your next project, your next opportunity, maybe your next internship or your next job is not likely to come from one of those Hall of Famers. It's likely to come from one of your faculty members. It's likely to come from a professional who was already out in the world but is now also getting a degree here at Full Sail. So as we continue to talk about this, I want you to think about the immediate application of how you can share your greatest value or what you can contribute to each other's stories.
Yeah, and so I'll just dovetail on that, Emily, and say that StoryCate is something that I have been partnering with Emily on. And there are about 5 or 6 members, some of them are here in this room, that are grads or current students that I am partnering with to bring this vision to life, and that I am working with day in and day out. And these are people that aren't Hall of Famers. I believe that they could be future Hall of Famers because they're brilliant. And they help me bring this vision to the world. And we're all working together. Why that is very simple. I took the time to ask them what they love to do. When I met Emily, I learned about Emily. She was my instructor. I took the time to ask her about what she loves. And that thing that she loves happens to align with something I love. And so that is an instant partnership that can happen. You guys talking to each other, you talking to each other, it's very important because everyone brings a very unique skill set in this room, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to get a hand up. You can get a hand across and both help each other up. And so that's important.
Everything you need is right here at Full Sail.
Very
Everything
true.
that you need to make your dreams come true is right here.
And so we talk about, one of you mentioned, it's important to be able to communicate. It is. The communication of your story or your narrative to others, how you communicate that, has the ability to help you reach your career potential. And that works in pitches, and don't think about it as, well, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not gonna go for a job. I'm working for a startup right now, and let me tell you, everything I do is a pitch. Everything that I do at work is a pitch, is an opportunity. And so I use this every day. In interviews, if you're interviewing, telling your story, telling your narrative, people want to know. We talked about the number one question. Number one question is, tell me about you. What do you say? In staff meetings or in networking events, at the Hall of Fame, when you meet someone, what do you say about yourself? And so my journey back, as I told you, was about Full Sail helping me reach my potential and helping others reach their potential, which is actually my passion. I want to help people. And so this journey back for me has led me to a storytelling framework, to create a storytelling framework that is designed to help you tell stories. We know that stories are written in patterns and communicated inside of frameworks. We know because we've learned, some of you have learned about storytelling. And so if I were to share with you a framework that would help you communicate your greatest asset, what you love, your skills and abilities, and your most significant impact to others, is that something that you want to learn today? Yes. Yeah. That is. Good. Then I'm in the right place. And that's important. So I want to introduce you to the 4 P's of storytelling. And most of the stories we know, love, and care about start with a protagonist. And here's the aha for you. The protagonist or hero or main character of this story is not you.
It's not you.
Remember that. It's not you. It is them. It is the group that you're working with. It is the person you're partnering with. It is the company that you're interviewing with. It's not you. But guess what? Every protagonist has problems and desires. They have a goal. They want to achieve something in stories, right? And they have problems. This is why they need a pathfinder. Some of you might refer to this as a mentor. You are a mentor. And you might say, well, how can I be a mentor? Well, enough people want to be heroes in stories that you can just slide into this mentor role. You'll be the guide on the side that can help them. So this is about you taking your position in a story, about helping people, helping that protagonist, understanding and empathizing, showcasing authority. And some of you may not believe that you have authority. You do. You have skill sets. You've been taught some things. You've got some experience, and you should leverage that experience. And so at this point, we have a protagonist and a pathfinder in a story. Of course, the pathfinder presents a pathway to the protagonist. This is the third P. Now, this is simply about what you offer to that protagonist to solve that problem and help them achieve what they've desired, what they've expressed as a desire or goal. And then there's a payoff. The biggest problem that I see when people interview with me, guys, is they don't know how to end a story. This is a true statement. They go on, and they're looking at me while I'm interviewing them, and they're looking for me to go, yeah, I get it. Well, what if I don't say, yeah, I get it? The story just keeps going, oh, and this, and this, and this. This provides you with a framework to be able to write out your story, to be able to identify a protagonist, to become a pathfinder who builds a pathway that leads to a payoff. Now, payoffs can be success or failure. In my life, I've had plenty of failures. I've lost my job, I've been promoted, and I've been passed over. This is a reality of what you'll experience in the workforce. You're not always going to be winning, and it's going to be tough. But those lessons that you learn in failure are important to it, not only acknowledge, but insert into your stories. And so today, Emily and I thought it might be a really good idea to actually help you write one of your stories. Would anybody be up for that? Yeah?
All right, so what you're going to notice is at the end of each of these rows, there's some papers and some pens. We're hoping that some of you have your own pens because there's not enough for everybody. But go ahead and flip those over, and you need one of each paper. One of each.
Yep, and you're looking for one that says my greatest impact, which is on a sheet of paper, and then there's another one that has the word well very large on it written at the bottom.
And one of the things I want to point out here is that this is a framework, and once you understand the framework, you can use it over and over again. So we really encourage you, after you leave this session, also to take these sheets with you, right? You're probably not going to have, the full amount of time and attention that you want to put into developing these stories based upon this framework, so we want you to take this so you have something to go off of when you have a quieter, more thoughtful moment to put into figuring out who you help, how you help them, and what is the value that you bring in your work.
So thank you, Emily. So now we are going to focus on writing a story. And what I want you to think about is an experience. This is about you. I want you to think about a project that you've worked on that's come to completion. I want you to think about an internship, a group project here at school, something that you've done that's valuable, where you provided valuable to another person or a group of people. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about that because some of you may not have something off of the top of your head. So take 30 seconds and think about that and name that story, because we're going to write that story together today in this room, and we're going to stair-step our way through it. Now, this is, again, to Emily's point, this is a framework. There is no right or wrong here, and you're not going to learn everything about storytelling today, but this will provide you with a healthy example that you can utilize in the future.
Yeah, so some of you might be thinking, well, I don't have the experience. I'm not into my career yet. What am I supposed to be thinking of for these stories? Think about your group projects. Think about an internship. Think about any time you have volunteered to help someone do something because you were good at that thing or you could have brought value in that circumstance. It's important here, especially as current students and almost graduates, for you to be able to look at your past. your experience and your skills, and to be able to find the words to talk about the things that you do and how they bring value. It might not be for an employer yet. It might be in a group. It might be in a class or a cohort. So I want you to kind of, not feel like you don't have an example that you can point to.
And this is about reflection, which is something you know a great deal about, Emily.
Yes, I do. RISE model.
So we'll give you guys a few more seconds to think about it. Is anybody super struggling right now? Everybody have something going on? We want to be here to give and help. And that's our objective today. And so let's go ahead and start. And we'll ask you to utilize the worksheet that you have in front of you. Again, the worksheet looks like this. It's my greatest impact. And you've got lines here. You can bullet point. You don't need to write long stories or paragraphs here. You can just bullet point. So follow us on this journey. Let's recognize or write down the name of the protagonist. Again, this is the group. This is your past employer. It could be someone you internship with. It could be a company. It could be a project that you worked on. Let's put a name to that. Let's go ahead and write that down. Now, I want you to think about what that group, person, or company of people desired. What was their goal? What did they want to achieve? Couple of words. Doesn't have to be, again, just a couple of words. Did they want to create a piece of content? Did they want to, work at Hall of Fame? It could be, in real time, what you're doing. You could be contributing to Hall of Fame. And what was preventing that protagonist from achieving that goal? So all protagonists have problems. This is why they hire you guys. Companies don't hire people if they don't have problems to solve. This is the reality. And this is something that you have to recognize and remember. When I talk to a potential employer, the question that I want to know is, what is the problem that you're asking me to solve? Let them explain that, because then I determine whether or not I'm interested in solving that problem, or am I qualified? Okay, so I'm going to pause and ask anybody, is anybody brave enough to actually share who their protagonist is, what their goal was, and what problem they were faced with?
And I'm just going to say that you're in trouble if I know that you're in this room and I know your name. You might get cold called if nobody raises their hand. Just saying, I know you. Anybody?
We got one here.
Here we go.
Here. Okay.
So the protagonist is Studio 18.
Okay. We got you a mic now. You're in trouble.
Yeah, I got the mic now.
Oh man, that voice is crystal clear. Okay.
So my name is AP.
Hey.
My protagonist is Studio 18. Before I came, they wanted to create a membership program. One of the issues that they had is they didn't know the formula or the correct pricing for that membership program.
Perfect. AP, let's hear it for AP. Way to go, man. That's great. All right, so let's take it to the next level. Now we're going to reflect on our contribution to that protagonist. And so you are the guide. What uniquely qualified you to help that protagonist solve that problem? Why did they choose you?
I always like to point to examples from the movies here too, just to say that every Luke Skywalker needs a Yoda. Every Neo needs a Morpheus.
That's
right?
correct.
So if you're kind of stuck on this point to think about that, the Pathfinder is Morpheus. The Pathfinder is Yoda.
Yeah. This is a framework that you can evaluate based on movies that you watch, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're now talking about you. Why did they choose you? And what skills did you have? Did you have a skill in a software? It's okay. It's meaningful. And so do I have a volunteer to share I have somebody in the back, yes? To share the Pathfinder. Okay.
I'm loud enough. I know
I do see you. I see you. I'm
I see
using
you,
my
Lamar.
shield here so I can see you.
All right. I was a Pathfinder for Hope Helps, and what they needed me to do was to get more people to donate more toys, clothing for needy families for their Christmas in the City event that happened during Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and another friend of mine actually went to Campus Cards and Games and had a little donation drive, and we actually got at least over got over $300 worth of toys, clothes, and things for their event.
So he's been to a workshop. He's attended one of my workshops. So he's like really advancing his story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can tell, I can recognize that voice, and I know you've been to one of my workshops, and which is great. And so what I want to ask you though is, why did they choose you? What uniquely made you qualified to participate in that donor rally?
Because Loudon ran lunches, and I can get people to come hang out with me because I try to be the life of the party.
You know what I call that? I call that an influencer. You're an influencer. So good job.
Nice work.
Very nice. And so now, guys, you get an idea of what the protagonist and Pathfinder roles are. What about the pathway? What is if you have problems that your protagonist has and desires, and you know why they chose you, what did you actually do? What was your step-by-step process? Did you have a process?
What was the solution?
Yeah, what was your solution? What skills did you utilize, and how did you use them? I like to operate in my own life, guys. I like to operate in threes. I usually don't say more than 3 things about anything in particular, but in the pathway section of when I'm telling my stories, I make sure I say I did this, this, and this. Simple, simple, simple. So it's about distilling down what those skills are that you...
And why is it important? Why is it important to keep it short like that? And
It's important because, as we talked about, you have to deliver the greatest amount of value in the shortest amount of time, Emily. And if you can master that, you will keep their attention. You will be able to evoke that emotion. So that's the pathway. That is the pathway. Anybody who has a pathway? Who's got us covered for pathway? Anybody?
Back here.
How's it going? Sean Donahue, and I'm working on some capstone projects here for game design. Previous project that we worked on was taking the best parts of everyone's level and focusing on maintaining their potential, increasing their potential for the player. So my job was specifically going to everybody's level, seeing exactly what was good, what were the best parts of it, and going back to whoever designed that and focusing on those parts of the level to best utilize gameplay for our combined level.
So let me just help you out. If I understand you correctly, you were providing meaningful feedback to shape what was happening in the future, yes?
Correct.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's talk about the payoff. What happened at the end of the story? Did the protagonist achieve their goal? It is really important to acknowledge whether or not the protagonist achieved their goal. You know, in all the movies that you know and love, you know how it ends. It's ending in that hero or protagonist or main character saves the day, or sometimes they fail, and that leads to a sequel, which happens.
A lot.
A lot.
Or spin-offs.
So describe how the story ended. And this is sometimes where employers will want tangible examples of how you helped companies win the day. This is where you might have a stat.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have one in your mind now, but this is where you got to think about statistics and what did you actually achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And so who has a payoff that they are willing to share?
We got one right here in the front row.
Okay, we've got one. We got a mic
for you.
We got a mic over here.
Okay, so my protagonist is okay, I'll stand up. It's a company that needed a style guide and branding done for them. And obviously I'm a graphic designer and a creative director, and my pathway was like asking her questions and who her target audience was, and at the end of it, I created a style guide for her. She loved it. She gave me an internship designing all of her ebooks for startup businesses, and she also has all the connections like in New York that could help me out like in the future. So she's willing to write like recommendation letters and get me connections for it. So
You're on your way.
that was it. Hopefully.
Well done.
But what I hear you saying, and just a point of clarification, you shared like some amazing outcomes of what happened, some payoffs for you, but ultimately for the purposes of what we're talking about here, the payoff was that you were able to create for her like an amazing style guide, right, that solved all the problems that she had with brand inconsistency.
Well done. Give her a hand. That's great. And so now you have a framework for storytelling. And what I would love to do is talk about how to implement this framework. And we know that when we share, we tend to share what's on the top of our mind, and we share what sort of we're thinking about in real time. If you're networking with each other or with a Hall of Famer or with a student, another student or a graduate, me, these are things that you can utilize inside of the framework. And so we wanted to, Emily, provide them with a script. Don't you think that that would be appropriate?
Yeah, one of the things that I hear consistently from students, I work in student portfolio development, right? So how to create your demo reel or your portfolio site, but paired with that is your resume and you shaping up bios that talk about yourself. And the number one thing I hear from students is that like, I just don't know what to say. Like I don't know which words to combine together to form the sentences that give people a real accurate picture of who I am and what I can do, what is the greatest value that I can provide at work or with a project. So scripts might be helpful for that.
Yeah, so scripting is helpful. And again, these are ideas. These aren't meant to be word for word, and you can utilize these and change these up. And so what I'd love you to do is take a shot at moving your information from my greatest impact sheet over to the so tell me about yourself sheet, which you have, and spend about 30 to 45 seconds translating and building a story within this script, within this framework. So can we do that? All right, good. Let's do it. And you should be thinking about if you're the one that wants to come up and share this, because we're going to invite somebody up here.
Yeah. And if we have time, it might be fun to hear our 4 volunteers, how that story shaped up in its entirety.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think we do have time. What is our time?
We got about 10 minutes.
We got about 10 minutes. I think we have enough time.
Yep. Maybe we can invite all 4 of those people up here.
Yeah, let's do it. I love it.
Cool.
Whenever you're ready. How are our volunteers doing? Working? Working overtime? That's great. You got a little background music too. I love it. All right, let's see if we can get some volunteers up.
That's right. So if you shared before, would you be so kind as to join us on stage up here?
Come on, join us.
We need a mic for these folks.
Come on, join us. Come on up.
Lorianne, Lamar. Yeah, you are. Come on up here.
Okay, we've got, come on up.
Come on up. You're okay.
You don't want to be the first one? Don't run. You'll fall off the stage. Please.
Is it Sean? Is it Sean back there? Yeah. All right.
Okay. Okay.
See,
They're very bright. Yes.
We're not prone to being dramatic, but it is bright. Yeah, it's on. You got to just point it at your mouth.
Hello. Mic check 1 2. Okay, gotcha.
So Emily, would you like to
Yes.
work with AP? Is it?
Check. There we go.
Is it JP or AP?
Great.
AP.
AP. Great voice, AP.
Thank you.
I'm a fan of the voice.
I worked to help Studio 18. They wanted to create a membership for their studio. Unfortunately, there was an issue with pricing structures and formulas, and they chose me because of my experience with having a membership at other studios before and my Microsoft Excel experience. My contribution to the project was the formulas in Excel, researching other studio pricing and testing through my network. And as a result, they were able to launch a membership program and implement it to the studio's pricing structure.
Wow. Nice. Well done. Well done, AP. Thank you.
The only point of feedback I would give you in the beginning is to give a little bit of context about what Studio 18 is, just in case that the person you're talking to doesn't know the significance of that company and what they do.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, mic check 1 2. All right, I work for Hope Helps, which is a nonprofit organization to help families in need. They wanted to get more toys and items for their Christmas in the City event. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough boxes, so I actually had to go take some boxes to the place to actually get some more contributions. They chose me because I'm an influencer and a loudmouth. My contribution was, like I said, the donation boxes, and as a result, they got over $300 worth of toys and stuff for families in need.
Nice work,
Well
Lamar.
done. Well done.
My only point of feedback here, Lamar, is to find some better words than loudmouth.
Yeah, I like influencer, though.
I like
you use
influencer.
that. I like it.
We're going to help you with that.
All right, you're up.
All right, so I worked to help Jessica with her business, So House. She wanted to get a style guide for brand consistency. Unfortunately, there were some missing elements, and she didn't know exactly what she wanted. She chose me because of my graphic design skills and creative, unique point of view. My contribution to the project was a finished style guide, and the result is that she was able to create content that was consistent and cohesive.
Very good. Now, I will give you a pointer. When you get to your pathway, can I look at that again? Yeah. You mentioned a finished style guide. What I would want to learn from you is the things that you did inside the creative process that would interest me as an employer. Okay. So that's some area that you might want to work on and build up. Okay. Is that fair? Yeah. Great. Awesome. Way to go.
How's it going? I worked on a team called Volatile Mushrooms, and that was just a fun little team name we had. And our job was my job specifically was to lead a team of fellow game designers and students to combine their concepts into one cohesive level. They wanted me to implement their best work, while at the same time they wanted me to combine their unique work and make it flow with everybody else's unique ideas. Unfortunately, the problem was everyone has huge differences in their ideas and what they wanted to do. We're all creatives, and we all want to make our mark in our game or our project. They chose me because I gave them a path to success that highlighted all of their features that were most important to them, while also were most relevant to the overall game level. My contribution to the project was giving them this plan, fully laid out. And as a result, we were able to create a project that everyone could collaborate on and highlight on all the best features, and we got a great grade on the project.
Excellent. Good job. One thing that I might ask you or invite you to work on is when we get to pathway, really digging into how, don't focus on the what there, because you are solutioning, but I kind of want to learn how you did that. Method is important. Employers are going to want to know what your process is.
Yeah.
Awesome. Make sense?
Yeah.
Guys, let's give it up for everybody that was a volunteer.
Yeah, I just want to touch really quickly on what Stan said about process, right? Here at Full Sail, we create a lot of things, and at the end of it, you have this finished product, and it's amazing. But that finished product doesn't necessarily give away how much work went into it, right? And if you can shine a light on all of the different steps that you took or the skills involved, many of you create very dynamic content. Sometimes that's, let's just say you created a video, right? A lot of people think, oh, well, that's easy. We all know that it's not all that easy. And if you played every role in the creation of that video, you should talk about that, right? Or were you, the camera operator, or were you the editor, or were you doing all of the sound and audio mixing? If you did all of that, you should talk about all of that.
Agreed. And as we wrap, I want to obviously give you guys an opportunity to learn more about what we are doing, what Emily and I are focused on as far as helping students and helping business professionals in the community tell their stories. So you can feel free to follow me at Career Storyteller on Instagram. And I also have created a YouTube channel called The Career Lab, where I will be putting out and am pushing out content that I think you would find valuable. If you like what you see out there, feel free to subscribe and ring that bell. You know the drill and how it works. I don't have to tell you. But I also want to say the purpose in us being here today, Emily, was to give back, to pay it forward. And there were 4 people here in this room that came outside of their comfort zone. They took a chance on this process, and I'm very thankful and grateful for you for doing that.
Yeah, and they invited us into their story.
Yeah, you invited me into your story. So I feel like I owe you a debt of gratitude. And how I want to pay that forward to you in your life is that I have 2 upcoming workshops in Orlando that are 4.5 hours. They're called the Career Storytelling Workshop, and they're normally paid workshops, and they're almost full, frankly. But I want to make sure that each of you have an opportunity to come to those workshops for free on StoryCate and actually invest into your career, into your life after Full Sail. So I hope you will accept that gift, because I definitely want to give that gift to you. So thank you guys. And so make sure you grab me after this and see me so that I can make sure we get you in one of those sessions. As for me, it has been great to meet with you guys, and I look forward to networking with you and meeting you after. Feel free to stick around, and I don't know if you have anything else on your agenda, but I'd love to connect with you, and I know Emily would as well.
Yeah, I would. I want to say thanks to all of you who came here today to learn about how you can better communicate your story and share the uniqueness of what it is that you do and how you help people. That's really probably the hardest part of this whole networking thing we've been asked to do, and how we're going to go about and try and get jobs after we graduate. We're here to help. So please come up and see us, and let's just kind of continue the conversation. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.